Hey everybody, Adam here with the Game Machine, bringing you a topic video. Sorry this got out kind of late, but just want to go ahead and get my thoughts out on this. So, I've been playing the Shenmue collection, playing the first Shenmue a little bit, diving into it, and I got thinking about a topic today that I see a lot of people complain about, and I just want to give my 2 cents on it because, especially where I'm in a place of financial strain in my life in the moment. Not to go into too much detail about it or, get any kind of like woes me sympathies. Like, I'm not asking for a pity party or anything or any handouts, but I just want people to know that, like, in certain situations, the stuff you have and the stuff that you've gained, sometimes you have to give that up for, more important things in your life. And sometimes you don't really want to, but you have to. And I recently got married last year, and it's been a bit of a financial strain. I'm currently providing for the household at the moment. My wife is going back to school. Might be going back to school, so I am going back to school in October. I just found out news today that I'm actually going to go back to school. So you're probably asking, what does all this got to do with gaming, remasters, and stuff? Well, I've had to sell off a lot of my collection, especially my Mega Man games, which were near and dear to me, because, we need the money. We're kind of strapped for cash at the moment. We need the money to get through this tough time that we're dealing with right now. And so, the majority of my games I've had to sell. And a lot of these games, I may not get a chance to play again, unless I go back out and rebuy them. And they're more expensive than when I paid for them because I had been collecting for about over 10 years. Video game collecting. When I first really got my real kick of game collecting, like, I've always bought and played video games, but like serious collecting started when I bought a Sega Saturn on eBay with a bunch of games. And I got some really good stuff for like $70, $60 at the time, and it was like Mega Man 8 and all kinds of good stuff. Saturn Bomberman. And I was just so really excited for these things and to have them. And then I was just more and more. Eventually I got to a point where I collected just about everything, and then I was like, that's not for me. So then I focused my collection on fighting games, on stuff that really mattered and was important to me, and that's something that maybe someday is sentimental and as crappy as it sounds. I wanted to share these experiences with my kids because, they're only going to know the Minecrafts and the Fortnites and all that stuff. They're not going to know the stuff I grew up with. I mean, yeah, sure, Mario's still popular and relevant, Sonic's still relevant, but those games don't really have the same they used to. Okay, Mario's still really good. Sonic Mania was really good. Everything else Sonic, meh, but you get the idea. So, to sell that stuff off is incredibly hard, and someday I'm going to try to get some of that back. Probably not as much as I had before, and I'm not going to be a crazy collector like I had been. I'm only going to collect certain things and go for certain things, but the whole thing is with remasters, I have an ability to go back and play certain games that I had to get rid of or that I never got a chance to play for a fraction of the cost it costs to buy these things used. And for me to be able to still have that, especially with Shenmue, recently I had to sell my copy of Shenmue for the Dreamcast, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I love that game to death. That series holds a lot to me. It's near and dear to me. Luckily, the Shenmue collection is $30, where Shenmue 1 for Dreamcast goes for 60 or 70, I think, online. So to get those two games for a fraction of the cost, to me, is really important, and I think it's really great that companies are starting to preserve some of their games. Granted, I wish that there were more games that are being preserved. There are a lot of games I want to go back to and play, but, and I don't know what that noise is, but you have to forgive me. But what I want from all this is people to be able to experience these games and be able to go back and play these games, and they don't have to go out and buy the old systems to do it and spend tons and tons of money. I mean, sure, there's emulation, but sometimes we want to support the companies, and I think with these remakes and remasters, they're doing that. Another good example of this is the Yakuza series. Yakuza, for a while, is kind of a snop up because they kind of pushed Shenmue out of the way, made Yakuza the poster boy, and I felt like they kind of left behind Shenmue and what it was, so I was really snubbed and irritated by that. But later on, as I got older, I was like, let's give this series a shot. So, yeah, and I played a little bit of Yakuza 0, and I'm like, wow, this is really good. And then I picked up Kiwami, which is a remake of the first game. Now, I could have went and got the PS2 copy, but, how much am I going to spend on that? I don't know the price, so if it's actually low, then forgive me, but yeah, I can play it on my modern console. I don't have to drag out a PlayStation 2 and hook it up. That's fantastic. That's great. And I think that's great that other people get to experience these things. They don't have to pick up an old console and do that. Mega Man X Collection is something where I've sold off my Mega Man games. And having the Mega Man Legacy Collections and the X Legacy Collections is a godsend, because I get to still play those games. Those games were important and integral to my childhood. And it really hurt emotionally. It really hurt to get rid of those games. And, I got a decent amount for them, but, selling them to a local game store, not as much as I would get online, but I needed the money that fast, so... And when you need money fast, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And... yeah, I had to get rid of those, but... thankfully, Capcom released these collections, and if they didn't release these collections, I may never get to play these games again. Unless I just, found some ROM site where I could download the ROMs and stuff, but even those are going away, so... And I can't really torrent on the internet connection that I have, so... And I'm not saying you're wrong or bad for using emulators or ROMs or anything like that. Heck, I've done that in the past, so I'm not judging. And if that's the way you want to experience them, go for it. If that's the only way you can experience them, go for it. Not saying piracy's good and stuff. Always support the original creators when you can, but there are some games you just can't get any other way anymore without spending hundreds of dollars on used games that don't benefit the developers anymore. I know this has been kind of a long tirade, me rambling on and on and on, but I am so thankful for remasters and remakes. Sure, I love to see more original titles, I'd love to see more new titles, and I think that that's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. But I am thankful that they are bringing these games back. And yeah, sure, it's surefire sellers that they're putting back out, but it means so much to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to some of you out there, that these games are being brought back. Shenmue 1 and 2, if you told me that a couple of years ago that they were going to do that, the Shenmue 3 campaign was a couple of years ago, but before all that, you told me that Shenmue was going to make a resurgence and they were going to release these games, my jaw would have hit the floor and I thought you were lying to me. But, they brought them back. The Street Fighter collection, having all the Street Fighter games, the mainline Street Fighter games, not the EX games, but having those all in a collection, oh my gosh, it's such a godsend to have. And I want more companies to do this stuff to help preserve these games. I know this is a long video, and I really thank you. I usually don't go on long about this stuff, but this means a lot to me, and I really appreciate each and every one of you sticking around and listening, and I want to know your thoughts. Whether you agree or disagree with me, that's okay. I'm not going to hate, I'm not going to be hurt if you disagree and think they're the worst thing in the world. But for me, I think it's a very important part of preserving gaming and allowing a new generation of people to experience these titles that they wouldn't have been able to any other way. So, yeah, I'm have hardly ever gotten emotional in a video, but I'm really genuinely emotional. And thank you, Sega. Thank you, Capcom. Thank you to all the other people who are making these things, even Microsoft to some extent, where they're allowing people to play their Xbox 360 and original Xbox games on their service and even selling the games no shade on Sony, like, even though they should offer better service, but, you know, thank you guys, all of you companies, for doing this stuff. I know, yes, they're in it for profit, but still, the fact that they're willing to offer these products to us, I think that's a good thing. And yeah, I'm willing to pay money for that. Although I don't get to buy as much as I like, the fact that that collection was $30 and we were able to scrape up enough, like we had some gift card stuff, I was able to scrape up enough to get it. So yeah. But thank you guys for watching. I'm going to shut up now. Friday we're going to have a big long video of me playing Shenmue 1. And if you guys like what you saw, let me know. We'll do more Let's Plays of it. If not, then it'll just stand as a solitary video. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you like what you see here. Hit the like button. Share with friends and family. Please share. Get the word out. And also hit the notification bell if you want to be notified. If that works, I don't know. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to me. If you've sticked around through this whole video or any part of the video, thank you for listening to me. This is a really emotional topic for me, and I want to thank you guys. Thank you all for watching. Game on, guys.